Boy, are you in for a treat of Jewish studies and Hebrew this year. Karen Messer is a master and a gem. We are so lucky to have her back for her second year at TVT, and we're never going to let her go, really. Your kids are in for a great, great year. They see Karen about an hour each day, 30 minutes for Hebrew, 30 minutes for Jewish studies. And also, there are other places where kids meet up. Your kids will meet up with the Jewish studies curriculum. They'll have tefillah with me every day, either in person or virtual. And on Fridays, the much beloved Kabbalat Shabbat. There are blessings that I said before kids go out to lunch. And when they come back in, there's either Birkat HaMazon or Birkat HaChrona that said when they return to the classroom. A typical day in Hebrew class is chock filled of activities, and each activity supports the other activities as well. So there's no activity that's kind of done in isolation as a one-off. There's language and conversations being done. There's Hebrew reading, there's Hebrew vocab, Hebrew writing, short stories, and song, all to achieve the goal of getting your kids excited, enthusiastic, and of course, successful at the Hebrew experience. So every day there is some homework that needs to be done within the Hebrew class, and Mark Karen made sure that I mentioned this as well, because there is each day a student needs to read one page out loud 2 times, and that's about 3 minutes of your child's life every day. They need to get a parent or caregiver signature, and then they need to practice their vocabulary list on this great program called Daber, which is like a virtual quizzing program, and 7 minutes daily on that. Of course, no homework on Fridays. All materials that your child needs to access is posted in Google Classroom, and anything that Mark Karen writes in Hebrew is always translated as well into English, so you'll always know what's going on. So assessment and groupings. Well, formal assessment is happening right now and also in January, and groups are slowly being formed of ability levels, but there's lots of moving around. And for those kids who are new and those kids who need a little bit of support, we've got a great group of teachers that are offering support this year in third grade. Mora Riva, Mora Vipka, and Mora Amit will all be kind of stepping in at different times of the day to do that. And it's important for you as a parent to know that these groupings, these ability levels are flexible. There's always opportunities to move around. So no student should ever feel like where they are is where they will stay. That's exactly not what we want. Our job is to lift up everyone in the process. There are two main topics of third grade Jewish studies. And what I love about each of them is they each come with exhibitions. So both Havdalah and our Torah study will each have at certain points of the year places where you get to peek in to what has been done to those during those culminating experiences. Let's start with Torah for a second. So every day when we study Torah, there are a bunch of steps involved. The first thing we do is we start with the much loved emoji Torah, which your kids I'm sure remember from last year, where they get a certain part of the story, like chapter 1, creation of the world. They're asked to imagine themselves as a character, animate, sometimes inanimate. They get kind of the story of what happened in the Torah from the eyes of that character. And then they have to they get a question, a feeling question. They have to circle the emoji, and then they start arguing about what emoji is the correct, what's the best motive, what's the correct motivation, what's going on in the head of that character during the particular part of the story. And it's a really great way to get the kids to start talking and really loving Torah. Then they share. Our second step is now we move actually to the real Torah, and the kids get about 15 different specific core verses that deal with the same story that the emoji Torah is talking about. But here they will learn how to sing these verses, these sentences in Torah. They will learn how to take them apart and figure out what each and every word means, focusing specifically on shorashim, on roots, on beginnings, and on endings, prefixes and suffixes. And then they'll kind of dig deeper and ask, what does it actually mean? Our third step is they get to do a little midrash work. What is that? They get to offer their own interpretation by taking the core verse and by creating a picture of what they think is happening and placing it on a Torah sheet. Our fifth step is, as the year progresses, the Torah sheet becomes 2 Torah sheets, 3 Torah sheets, 4 Torah sheets, and actually starts looking like a Torah that they can roll up. And on June 1st, it is my pleasure to invite you all, COVID permitting, to school as your kids present all of their Torah in its full glory, and we'll fill in the gaps with some acting as well. The second topic is Havdalah. Havdalah is an amazing, very short, like 5-minute ritual that brings family together in a very sensual, sensory way to end Shabbat on Saturday night when 3 stars are in the sky. And during this year, your kids are going to be masters of the Havdalah ceremony. They're going to learn how to lead Havdalah. They're going to create holy and non-holy time t-shirts. They're going to design and create their own spice boxes in our class. They're going to read the story of Elijah, this character, prophet of old who never dies, that we actually invite to the Havdalah ceremony because he's like the harbinger of peace. They're going to write and illustrate their own creative Elijah story. They're going to create their own Havdalah candles, and then they're going to invite you to school on Saturday night. Mark your calendars, March 7th at 7 o'clock, to lead you through a series of Havdalah stations and teach you all about this ritual. Then they're going to do the ritual. Then they're going to do a couple Israeli dances. And afterwards, they're going to say goodbye to you as they change into their pajamas and watch a great movie and eat popcorn. And you get to go out and have some coffee and get something to eat, and then come back at about 10:15 to pick them up. So, of course, there are Chagim, holidays galore at TVT, and the experience in third grade is no exception. Each and every holiday will be met with something exciting and interesting to do to keep the excitement high, to say, wow, living the Jewish year is a great, great gift. I can't wait to do it again. So that's it. Karen wants to meet up with you in the NPR when you get a chance. So Shana Tova, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here tonight. And thank you for investing your time and energy and the precious years of your children's education here at TV.